Classic, and the festivities are finally over here, Chris, and we have a champion in the way of Kai Greene, 3-time champion, but not without controversy, and you know we love to talk about controversy. Arnold Schwarzenegger, as he's interviewing Arnold Schwarzenegger, the one and only, the Austrian Oak, was interviewing Kai after the win, and he said to Kai,
because I think when it comes to the physical development, I think that Cedric was ahead. But then you pulled it off with the posing. You had the most extraordinary posing routine. And since this is the first year where we're coming back and counting the posing, which is very important, you and the end won. So what is your take on that?
Well, you know what? I think that it is just really, really awesome and amazing that you have people like you in the sport coming back and investing in the development of our sport.
you didn't win physically. Cedric McMillan beat you, but you won the posing round, and that clinched it for you. What does that statement mean to you when you hear that?
It means that I haven't digested it yet, but I mean, you can be sarcastic and say it became a posing contest because the posing outweighed what. If Arnold says, "quote," you were losing physically to Cedric, and you won the competition, then you have the physical component and the posing component, and by definition,
which is 1/3 of their score.
The posing and trumps the physical.
Kai did have a great posing routine. And you know, Cedric did too.
I hate usually Kai's phony little. I do not like. It's not my cup of tea. Kai's posing routines, but he poured a killer cup of tea tonight. It was really, you know what, he came out and put his heart and soul into that routine.
Let's talk about how the scoring is done. 1/3 of the score is at prejudging. Third of the score is the night show reevaluation, and 1/3 of the score here at the Arnold Classic only is the posing round. This is a new rule they instituted today. After prejudging, Cedric was certainly ahead. We talked about this in the prejudging wrap-up. Tonight, Kai came back better, but it evidently it seems as though Cedric still did enough to be ahead in the posing rounds, or excuse me, in the evaluation rounds or the mandatory rounds. Going into the posing round, I got to tell you, Cedric did a fucking great routine. And I'm saying the word F because I was so moved by it emotionally that I thought it was a great way to start the evening. He went first, Kai went last, but you know what? Kai is Mr. Showmanship, and he brought it tonight in the showmanship department. Should posing win shows for athletes? And should it be used as a tiebreaker? Was it close enough that maybe the posing round was applicable to be used as a tiebreaker tonight?
You know, it sounds ludicrous, but technically yes. But then you go to whose routine is, you know, they both have, both have their own style and own good routines.
But if Kai wins the posing round and Cedric comes in second in the posing round, there's an advantage to first, obviously.
You know what? You're coming up with formulas now, and it's so difficult to even think about. I mean, you obviously see you can't get an impulsive answer out of me, which means you have to think it through, which becomes it's so challenging.
Who won this competition in your mind?
Cedric McMillan. Why? I'll say by a minute, because Cedric dominated prejudging, and
because you can't dismiss prejudging just because someone looks a little better at night.
Dominated prejudging. Thank you for making that point. And absolutely, Kai Greene looked a lot better tonight. And I actually thought that I had Kai ahead when they brought 6 people out, and I gave a nudge to Cedric when they brought Cedric and Kai out alone. So I had, in the physicality department, no posing involved, Cedric winning the show. So, you know, and then, you know, of course, I mean,
I'll tell you why mathematically Cedric was probably leading going into that posing round. Because he clearly won prejudging. That's going to put him up by 5 points right there. Because he's going to get a 5, Kai's going to get a 10 in the scoring department. Then at night, let's say I think Kai edged him a little bit at night in the posing rounds, in the mandatory rounds, but I don't think he beat him clearly unanimously. I think probably some judges still probably had Kai and some had Cedric, which would mean that Cedric is still ahead going into the posing round, which is where Arnold probably got that score from. And once again, I haven't seen the scorecards yet, but then Kai might have won unanimously the posing round with a 5, Cedric got a 10, and that's how it neutralized the prejudging for Cedric. So that's how you get mathematically the Kai Greene victory here tonight, which, look, it's a mathematical equation. So here we go back to Arnold last year, Sunday after the competition, said we should judge the posing because we think the posing is important. And he also said, I thought Cedric McMillan got a bad rap because I like his physique. So he created a round for Cedric, and it cost Cedric the victory. How ironic is that?
It's an amazing way to put it. You know, it's.
You think they'll get rid of it now?
Huh? No, it's very believable, and you know, here we are talking about Kai Greene getting his third win.
Yeah, let's talk about you know, this is the selfie contest. You know, Cedric McMillan at the pose down pulled out a camera off the side stage and started taking selfies with all the guys, and then Arnold actually did a Snapchat at the very end. Are we truly in the digital age now?
Yeah, we are in the digital.
Did you
age.
ever think Arnold would pull a cell phone out on camera?
Well, I think after. You know, after the Pope came a few years ago to the United States and like 500 nuns pulled out little iPhones and took pictures. I mean, this is the digital age. Just with the
Maybe we
age
should
where
Snapchat while we're doing the wrap up here.
Jay showed me how to Snapchat yesterday. I'm still trying to figure it out.
You're just an Instagram man.
Yeah, I told him, Jay, it took me long enough to master Instagram. I don't think I can weave my way into Snapchat.
Josh Lenardowitz. Oh, here he goes. Johnny Styles got us on Snapchat.
Right now.
Big Sid.
To run to the background.
Or Little Sid. Third place, Josh Lenardowitz in this competition. This has to be an accolade of accolades for him, because here's a guy who no one even knew last year. At the end of the year, he pulled off 2 victories in San Marino, and then at the Ferrigno Legacy Classic. He finished second to Cedric last week in Poland, and he knocked off some big names tonight. Max Charles, he knocked off Branch Warren. He knocked off Justin Compton, who we were maybe billing as one of the.
Not Wade, but go ahead.
Well, we were billing him
Wade.
as a top guy, obviously, in this lineup.
Listen to the radio show.
Yeah, but let's talk about Josh Lenardowitz before we get to Justin Compton, who might have been the biggest disappointment, I think, of the show.
Josh is got fresh, young-looking muscle. It separates when he flexes stuff. The skin is thin. He don't look maxed out of his brains. He's got great width. He's got good legs. He's got good stage presence. He's even got a young-looking, fresh face. You know,
he's got room for improvement.
He's got a lot of room for improvement, and it's nice to see. It's just exciting to see. The sport needs new blood. I mean, half the people up there are over 40 years old. You know what I mean. Yeah. So besides Cody,
you hear all that noise over there? Yeah. If you look at all that noise over there, you could see. You can see Big Ramy over there, who's looking large and in charge, having fun with the fans. You know, obviously Ramy watching on. What did Ramy think of the decision?
Ramy felt bad for Cedric. That's all he said. Is you know, he.
You gotta go. You gotta do the prediction.
Come here. Let's get Sean Roden in this little tidbit here. Sean, what did you think of the decision? Was it a good decision?
This is the Arnold Classic, and
you've had some tough losses here yourself.
I'm gonna swallow this one, and my prediction was for Cedric, and I'm gonna leave by saying I still think Cedric looked amazing.
Did you think when Arnold said to him, "Hey, you know what? Cedric was beating you after all the mandatory rounds, and then you won it in the posing round"? What kind of message was that sending to Kai Greene there?
That he's a great poser and should keep just posing.
Simple formula.
I'm serious. It's just saying keep posing, keep doing what you're doing. You will win the posing round, and you could lose in the morning, but come back and pose, and chances are you'll win. So I'm literally going back to my room, and I'm going to start practicing my posing.
You better.
For the Olympia. I'm going to Billie Jean all over the stage.
Thanks, Sean. Let's talk about Justin Compton. Chris, here's a guy who was billed as the guy who might knock off Kai Greene. We were super impressed with him 2 years ago at the Orlando Europa Pro. He was phenomenal. He had terrific separation, small waist. Last year, we saw potential there. Like, he got bigger, but we saw some missing stuff. He had a little bit of smoothness in the ab area. You predicted on the radio show that he was going to come in and have abdominal problems, distension problems.
Prediction. I was wrong on the prediction that Kai would retire.
You were.
But you know, that was a good prediction.
Compton didn't look too bad at the prejudging, but tonight he was just water was coming off him. He was smoothing out. What happened?
You know, you want the real truth? What happened?
Yeah, I want to know the technician's version.
This is exactly what happened, so they can review the notes. That he came in too overcarbed and holding, you know, water that was blurring the definition. So they tried to fix that, and his blood pressure probably was extremely low for the night show, which causes his body just to go into one massive water retentive state.
I mean, we could see the water flowing off his body and just smoothing him out right before our eyes.
I think he's the luckiest guy in the show here. I wasn't impressed with him in prejudging. I wasn't personally, if you go back last year, I wasn't that impressed with him. But at the night show, he should go home and thank the good Lord that they didn't mark him way down at the night show, because he was
a disaster at the night show.
The tan was running off because he was just flowing. Water
I'm wondering if his blood sugar dropped, because he looked like he was in a cold sweat.
I said blood pressure.
Yeah.
Well, but blood sugar and blood pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, when you try to get rid of water and you do things to get rid of water, both fall, collapse. You probably teach that at the Guru course.
Yeah, I do.
And the opposite, what happens is the body just traps water or tries to overheat itself, and water comes out of the body.
For Justin to lose to Josh Leonardo, I think that was huge for Josh and terrible for Justin. His stock kind of went down on that one, but obviously Justin's still young. He's only 27 years old.
Are we violating any civil rights or any if we get Remy in here or any?
I don't know. We might. I don't want to get him in trouble. Let's talk about 5th place Branch Warren.
Trump may get pissed. Does he? I didn't know if he's here.
You're fired.
Yeah.
No, I heard P Diddy's here.
I didn't know P Diddy.
No, 50 Cent's here.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about talk about Branch Warren, because I thought he was terrible at the prejudging. He did come back drier. Still not the best Branch Warren we saw. Was 5th place a gift for him, or was it the right place?
I don't know if it was a gift.
He was way better last year.
He was 5% better. I mean, he was better last year. How much better, I don't know. It's just we're at a period now, which is odd, where some of the former marquee names are sliding down, but there's not a lot of new marquee names to slide up, to move up. I mean, where are the people, let's say Branch, okay, did he get a gift? I don't know if that's an important point to make or not, but if who was to replace him?
I thought that Max Charles should have been in that top 4, the worst top 5. I don't know what the judges didn't like about him. His upper body is phenomenal. His conditioning was impeccable. I thought his legs improved tremendously. I'm a big Juan Morel fan, and Juan finished in 6th, but I can't see how Max lost to Juan or Branch Warren.
How about Justin Compton in prejudging?
Look, you can make a case that Justin has better legs, but what about Juan and Branch Warren? I mean, they were not at their best.
How about we're talking about guts? I mean, when do you draw the line and say, we've been talking for 7 years, 12 years about stomachs, and when someone comes in with a big stomach, when do you say, you know what, that's a big stomach, and you're not placing in the top 5?
Well, it seemed like it hurt Jose Raymond last night in the 212. Obviously,
with this vacuum, it did. Yeah, I guess it did.
I don't understand how he lost to Hide Yamagishi.
Well,
so
that's why
people are saying aesthetics.
That's why I make the distinctive point.
So what you're saying is that yesterday they went for an aesthetic look. Today they went with a bigger look, and it's not consistent.
You mean bigger in Justin Compton or bigger in Kai
Greene?
Well, I mean, can you find more aesthetic? I mean, if you're talking aesthetics yesterday, if you're going to say the template for aesthetics is Hyde, how does Cedric McMillan measure up in terms of aesthetics? I'm not saying aesthetics should win. But if you're going to be consistent,
but you know what? Cedric was winning. He lost the posing round to Kai Greene. That's what happened. Yeah. There you go. So Juan Morel, not the best Juan Morel we've seen. The upper body has certainly gotten better, but the legs seem like they haven't improved. And what happens is when your upper body gets better and your legs don't improve and you got weak legs, it makes your legs look weaker.
Yeah, they look extra small. I thought he was very flat in prejudge and filled out a lot for the night show. He's
got problems filling out. This guy's got such a fast metabolism that even Chad said it, when we were doing the pregame show. This guy has trouble filling out, and it's almost like hit or miss with him. Sometimes he hits it, sometimes he misses. He hit it last year at the New York Pro.
No, he did. And he was good in Brazil as well, really full. I thought he filled out for the night show here, but, I think maybe it's weird. His upper body fills out first and still not the legs. So even though he came out tonight with like a packed upper body, the legs were still, needing time to fill out.
What happens at the Olympia come September? You got Kai Greene back in the mix, assuming he does it and signs the contract. Cedric now, right there, who theoretically could have beat him tonight, or maybe was beating him tonight. Obviously, Phil Heath's got to be watching this, and he's a little nervous now. Where does this go come September?
Sean Roden.
Sean Roden, who obviously is a dangerous competitor as well.
The Egyptian fisherman.
Rami, who's in your corner now.
Well, that would be Rami.
You poached him from George.
Yeah, Rami, sending out Rami, Cedric, and Roden after Phil.
Yeah.
What's it mean? It's bodybuilding. It means nothing because at the end of the day, you're only as good as, not even your last contest. You're not as good as your last contest. You're only as good as the contest that hasn't happened yet. Right. So when we talk about the Olympia, anything, absolutely anything can happen. And people can come in off, and we've seen that, or people can come in at their lifetime best. I think what just a different factor moving in there is, although he doesn't believe in momentum, is Cedric coming in.
Yeah. India Paulino wins the pro bikini division, and in the strongman competition, which I love to watch up on that stage, Zydrunas Zavickas wins his 8th record-setting Arnold strongman, defeating narrowly Brian Shaw, who has a hamstring injury right at the end there. So that was super exciting. Chris, when all is said and done here in Columbus, Ohio, at this 2016 Arnold Classic, what will we remember when all is said and done? Probably just that Kai Greene won his 3rd show?
We will remember. We'll remember 3 things. That what I've been saying, and I said this on the radio last week, is when you compare Cedric McMillan to a Kai Greene, like in prejudging, Cedric can easily, which I think it was unanimous, at least in prejudging, that he can take out a Kai Greene. What changes is the dynamic, at least this is my takeaway, is when you call a Kai Greene, Cedric, Branch, there's so many, Wolf, there's so many different contrasts in the bodies that some people might not look as impressive as just the focus of 2.
Right.
That's one takeaway. The other takeaway is Kai Greene still has major weird issues with a stock market body. He comes into the show in prejudging, looking off, and then he comes into the night show 30 minutes later, 4 hours later, banging, looking really on. And then the third takeaway is, of course, Arnold spilling the beans and saying that, you didn't
really win.
You didn't really win, but you won the posing. The other takeaway from that is that this show, this competition, the Arnold, although we have still not addressed guts, which Arnold has wanted to address, he has implemented the idea that posing will count for something. You had arguably, well, I would say the best poser of the last 2 nights win the show. Hyde won the show.
Right.
You could easily make the argument
maybe that's why he won,
that he didn't win the show. Or you have Kai Greene, which I thought it was his best routine in a long time, winning the show, and Arnold articulating that you won the show based on the posing. So this idea, as we debated it on Iron Debate, are they going to count it? And we said, no, they're not.
Jay said that.
Jay said that. I knew.
They did.
And I said that. I said, no, they're not going to count it. And they counted it. And, if that's the rule of the day, then fine.
I think this is really the take-home message. The take-home message is that Kai Greene did this show, the Arnold Classic, to gain some needed momentum. Momentum that will carry him into the Olympia, because people only remember that fight he had with Phil on stage. They remember him pulling out of the Prague Pro. And my question is, does Kai Greene have momentum knowing that he really did not win this show on physique? He won it on his posing prowess. And that to me is a huge question that I think that will remain in Kai's head and might actually serve as a negative reinforcement come Olympia time. We won't know that, obviously, but I want to thank Johnny Styles, Sid Faruqi, and the whole RxMuscle staff for doing a great job. Kareen Styles as well. Thank you to Dr. Bob Goldman for the Hall of Fame ceremony. If you guys missed it, you can catch the replay. We live streamed it on RxMuscle.com. For now, though, I'm Dave Palumbo with Chris the Technician Aceto and Johnny Snapchild Childs for RxMuscle.com.